All right, I want to talk about some trading highlights from GreatStockPicks.com chat room today, and I also want to take this. I'm just going to use this video to talk about an email I got that's pretty interesting, and I gave a big talk to the chat room today about the email, and I think it's worth talking about in a video. So real quick, and actually these charts I'm getting ready to show you pertain to the email a little bit as well. Darden Restaurants, DRI, just got hammered yesterday, and as I told our members, let's go to 5-minute candles. It's not uncommon, let's take today's trading out of it. It's not uncommon for a stock like that. Get the drawing tool going here. It's not uncommon for a stock like this that just has this huge gap down, and each little bounce, you get a little bounce here and it's taken out, a little bounce here, it just keeps, and just can't get a bounce at all, right? Just can't get a bounce at all. In my opinion, the reason for that is as simple as shorts are just flat out in control that day, all right? Shorts are just jumping on every bounce and they're winning. Now, once you get an overnight, people get time to digest the news, and you have, everybody wakes up and the market, has a chance to just rest. Sometimes the next day you get a big rally like that, okay? But that first day you just couldn't get a bounce to save your life. So anyway, we had this on watch because it was just getting pummeled. I couldn't find a clean entry up until, I believe it was somewhere, let's see. The call on DRI was 42.22. It's hard to see with that gap because everything's so compressed. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay. Looked like this, and again, it wasn't the best call because you had an early gap down and an early run, and then this 5's pullback was probably the best entry, okay? Right here with a stop right here, but I didn't do that. I was interested in the fact that it had a base at 42.20 and then came back up. I thought 42.22 should easily get us to 42.25, which would be a new high for the day, and maybe some short covering. The stop was at 42.06, okay? So there's the trigger. And we didn't get the break and the breakout in the short covering, but it did hold the stop. It took about 10 minutes of us worrying, and then we got our nice rally. And then it was just flat out off to the races. Let's back out here. Okay, so you can see our entry was right here. It ended up moving to from 42.22 to 43.66, $1.44 in our favor. With 16 cents at risk. All right, I sold the rest of mine. As always, I scale out in parts, but I sold the rest of mine at 43.11. Okay, so I didn't catch the last 50 cents of the move, but still a very nice trade on 16 cents risk. And another highlight from today was Qualcomm, QCOM, just getting killed early. Okay. After that first bounce, I like to watch how these things react to the initial bounce. Okay, see this first bounce, then the second push down, then I'm really interested. So I called it over this little candle here, Qualcomm at 53.64, stop a dime below, 53.54, never stopped out, okay, and ends up going to, at one point, 54.74, so a $1.10 move in our favor on 10 cents risk. All right, now here's where I'm getting ready to talk about the email. One of our members emailed me and said a lot of times your results, I guess he said they seem skewed or however you want to word it. And he had a good point. Originally I read that and I thought, hey, that hurts my feelings. But then I kind of dissected it and read what he talked about, and he has some good points. Now I'm going to explain what's going on here. Qualcomm, for example, 53.64, dime stop, right? If your position size is correct, you could have just let that work all day. If you trade a little bigger than you should be scalping some into the first pop. So I sold some in the 53.80s, and then I sold the rest, I don't know, maybe on this spike down or this spike down. Either way, I made money on the rest too. So I didn't do very well as far as eking out these kind of profits. But that doesn't negate the fact that, as our results page says, I called it a 53.64, the stop was a dime below, and it never got hit. Okay, but anyway, I appreciate the email. He had a good point, but I don't put it up there to skew results. I'm not saying I sold it at the high of the day. I, more than probably anybody I've ever met, am an extremely defensive trader. I think you could say to a fault. I think that's a fair statement to say I'm defensive to a fault. Okay, so I'll take a 20-cent pop here, and then I'll get to a break even, or if I get a push down, I'll just kill the rest. Sometimes I can find secondary entries and just trade it again, okay? Now, having said that, DRI, we pointed this out, I took right about here, and then started scaling out into this pop, and I sold my last chunk all the way up here at 43.11. So DRI I handled well, but also DRI, after it finally got going, never came back to my entry, so it made it easier. And I get comments from people in chat. I know when I say, hey, I'm getting back out here, I know that's going to chase some of our members out. There's been people with us for 5 years now, and many of them, they don't get chased out like I do. They've been with me long enough to know that, hey, Mike is not going to give any money back once he's put some in his pocket. Again, that doesn't change the results page, doesn't change. So in summary, what I think I'm really good at is finding low risk, high probability triggers and stops. Probably way better at that than actually trading them. And the email went on to say that, hey, a lot of people hold overnight or there'd be no market, and you should be calling these for 2 to 3 day runs. Now, I won't dispute that. 2 to 3 day runs often occur. Okay, I told people today that DRI may have put in a medium-term bottom here. You've got a low here and then a higher low, and this may be back up for several days. With Europe the way it is, I'm also aware we could wake up tomorrow and the whole market could be gapping down 500 points. That's not necessarily likely, but the way I trade defensively, I just go to cash every night. I'm not telling everybody, if you're a member here, I don't want you to hold anything. That's everyone's an adult, and it's up to you how you want to handle the trading, okay? I didn't set this website up to have 200 people shadowing everything I'm doing. And again, most people have been trading for quite a long time, but we have newer traders too. And I'm always aware that I've got brand new traders in there, okay? So part of my defensive trading is for the new members, because I'd rather teach someone not to lose than to hold overnight or to hold on through your stop, even though it's moved up 20 cents, comes back through your stop. To hold on, I think the stop's going to work. To me, that seems irresponsible. I'm not arguing with the emailer. He had some good points, okay? But I'm encumbered by the fact that I know I've got newer traders in there. When you've been with us for a while, you'll learn whether or not you've taken half on the trade, whether or not you're just going to let the stop work on the rest. Everyone develops their own style. I am ultra defensive, and even more so probably because I feel responsibility for traders. And I don't think you get that in a lot of places. I think people call stuff, and if it stops out, they say, well, whoops. I try to teach people not to lose before they worry about how much they can make. So, DRI today, I made some very nice money on that. Qualcomm, I still made a decent little chunk, but certainly could have made a lot more. So, just to be clear, when you look at the results page, and it says it all up here. If you scroll up, it explains everything right here. I'm certainly not going to read that all. You can go to the results page and see that. But the fact, if you look at the triggers and look at this and how high they went, there's no falsehoods on here. Every one of these triggered where I say they triggered, where I called them, and they moved up to where I say they moved up. And here's where the stop was, whether or not it got hit. So I may or may not have ridden these trades up. I put out a video yesterday. Some of them, I make decent calls and I never get them. Okay, IVN yesterday, 21.50. That wasn't because I chickened out or whatever, however you want to word it. I just told everybody, hey, we've got this volume spike. You had a nice pullback. 21.50 was the call with a stop. I can't remember now. But it was tight, and the thing moved to 22.80. I made that call in chat. I didn't take the trade myself. I don't know if I was caught up in the middle of another trade or whatever, but I used the microphone to tell everybody the setup in IVN. So, again, it lands on our results page as one of the stocks that I called. And nowhere on this page do I say I got every one of these trades. But I did call all of these trades, and any one of our members could have profited from them. So anyway, if you ever become a member, I'm sure you'll develop your own style, but just know that the guy running the chat room, that's me, is extremely defensive, and I think I'm pretty good at finding the low-risk triggers and stops. I don't always get them myself, and I don't always get the bulk of the move, but, that's trading. I'll protect the downside before I'll ever worry about how much we can make. And I thought there was one other comment. He goes on to say 200 members can move any one of your stocks. Well, as a general rule, I focus on stocks that have plenty of volume. You see IVN 3 million. You won't see any 200,000 shares a day stocks posted in our results page. Every once in a while, I'll call a thinner stock, and when I do, I'll usually have a disclaimer. Hey, this is thin, trade small with limit orders. I'll always do that. So, I mean, if you look over these, most of these are high volume stocks. PANL is a little bit squinky, and I'll let everybody know that too. But, every now and then you'll see a low volume stock in there, but I don't think that's a fair charge to place. If you look at a lot of trading sites, they're always trading stuff that averages 200,000, 300,000 a day. I almost never trade something that has traded less than 1 million shares in the past 2 weeks. On any given day. And if I do, I have a disclaimer. So anyway, that's my little rant for the day. And again, I deserve the email that I got. He had some good points, and some points certainly weren't good. To say that I should be calling overnights, that's not what I do, okay? I'll mention, like I did today with Darden, overnight might be good here on a small portion of your trade. And I'll also go on to say that I'm not doing it. I'm going to start tomorrow in cash like I do every day. So anyway, that's my short answer. Believe it or not, you should imagine what my long answer is. That's my short answer to those charges. And again, not being argumentative, you had some valid points, and hopefully I've explained some of those. So anyway, I'm not going to babble any further. Had a really nice day. Let you go, and we'll talk to you guys later.